Midnight rescue, soldier dying alone in woods until two girls show up to save him. The moon hung low in the sky, an eerie glow illuminating the dense woods where shadows twisted like something alive. In that haunting silence, the sound of rustling leaves was enough to set a person on edge. A soldier, cold and alone, lay gasping on the ground, his body bleeding life into the forest floor. His breaths came in rasps, struggling against the weight of darkness closing in. He was fading, and no one knew he was there. A shattered shoulder, an aching leg, and sheer agony coursed through him like flames. Each pulse of pain echoed in the stillness, a desperate beat of a heart that seemed to hang by a thread. Was anyone coming? He had thought he was strong enough, but the shock of the frigid air seeped into his bones, numbing both body and spirit. A faint whisper caught his attention, a distant giggle, like music, shattering the quiet. Had he lost his mind? Or was this a cruel joke? He squinted into the dark, desperately hoping for salvation. Then, out of nowhere, two figures emerged, illuminated by the moonlight. They were young girls, perhaps no older than 16, with wild hair that danced in the wind and eyes alight with mischief. They moved with an energy that could only come from the reckless abandon of youth. One girl, her cheeks flushed, reached towards him. "What happened to you?" she asked, her voice a mix of concern and curiosity. The soldier couldn't muster words, he only stared, shocked that there were others here in this desolate place. A shiver crept through the forest as the other girl started tying something around his leg. "It's going to be okay," she assured, though her trembling hands betrayed her words. But just then, a low growl echoed through the trees. Were those wolves? The leaves rustled ominously, freezing the blood in the soldier's veins. He wanted to scream, to warn them, but his voice was lost in the terror that gripped him. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The forest seemed to close in around them, shadows looming larger, branches clawing into the air like desperate fingers. The soldier's heart pounded in his chest. What was lurking there, just beyond the trees? He could sense the danger, and it felt all too real. Suddenly, the girls froze, their laughter gone, replaced by an uneasy silence that swallowed the air. They exchanged worried glances. The tension was oppressive, thick enough to cut with a knife, and then, without warning, the silence shattered as the growl erupted again, closer this time. The girls took a step back, eyes wide with fear. "What was that?" the first girl whispered, clutching her friend's arm. The soldier wanted to tell them it would be all right, to reassure them, to fight back the encroaching dread. But he was fading fast. With a shared look of defiance, the girls grabbed the soldier's arms, determination flickering in their eyes like flames. But could they really save him? Or would they all become victims, lost in the dark woods forever? As the growl echoed once more, a shadow slipped through the trees, and they were all left hanging on the verge of an unfathomable danger. What would happen next? The growl cut through the air, a chilling reminder of the dangers lurking in the dark. The girls stiffened, their grip on the soldier tightening as they braced for whatever horror was about to reveal itself. He could feel their fear seep into him, amplifying his own terror. "Please, stay close," the soldier tried to say, but the words twisted in his throat, a futile whisper swallowed by the looming shadows. The rustling grew louder, branches snapping underfoot as something massive approached. His heart raced, and in that moment, he could feel his life slipping through his fingers, but the girls were here. He wouldn't let go of hope. From the thick underbrush, two eyes glimmered in the shadows, feral and hungry. The soldier's pulse quickened, and he fought against the wave of darkness threatening to take him. The first girl trembled but held her ground. "What is it?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The second girl, steadier, pulled out a flashlight from her backpack and flicked it on. The beam cut through the night, illuminating the form of a creature that stalked toward them. A wolf? No, it was larger. Its fur was matted and dark, teeth bared in a snarl. "It's a bear." The soldier screamed, fighting through pain to sit up. "Run." The girls hesitated, fear locking them in place, frozen statues of bravery against a wall of dread. But before they could react, the bear lunged. The soldier heard the crunch of leaves as it barreled toward them, low and fast, a freight train made of fur and teeth. "Go, now!" he cried, the last ounce of his strength propelling him into a desperate push against the ground. The girls snapped out of their trance, adrenaline surging through them as they darted in opposite directions. Heart pounding, the soldier grasped at his leg, trying to pull himself up. His body protested, every inch felt aflame with agony, but he couldn't let them face this alone. "Hey! Look at me!" the second girl shouted, her voice piercing through the panic. She waved her arms, trying to divert the bear's attention. The first girl, her resolve flickering, ran into the shadows, searching for a rock or something, anything to defend them. A crack of branches filled the air as the bear shifted, distracted by the movement. The soldier pushed through the pain, heart pounding, dragging himself toward the chaos. Don't take your eyes off it." Suddenly, there was silence, the kind that presses against your ears like water filling your lungs. The girls had disappeared, and the bear had momentarily paused, surveying the area as though deciding which target was more appealing. Where had they gone? Panic gripped the soldier as he swung his eyes from shadow to shadow, desperately searching. "Where are you?" he roared, voice breaking through the darkness. His heart raced, an endless drum filling his ears, when he spotted movement, a flash of wild hair disappearing into the underbrush. The girl. She was moving. For a fleeting moment, a glimmer of relief washed over him. But then came the haunting growl again, deeper, more menacing, as the bear made its decision that he was too weak. Tears brimmed in his eyes, a mixture of fear for himself and dread for the girls. Could he get them out alive? The shadows shifted once again, and from behind one of the thickest trees, the second girl emerged, cradling a hefty branch in her hands. She raised it high, a warrior's stance. "Don't you dare!" she shouted, swinging it in defiance as static electricity crackled in the air around them. But the moment held for only an instant, and they all knew time was slipping, just as their hope seemed to dim. The soldier's breath quickened, the woods were alive with danger, and a choice was ahead. Would they fight, or flee? And could they save each other without losing themselves in the shadows? As the girls rallied, readying themselves for the fight of their lives, the soldier felt a strange knot in his throat. They were all in this together now, life or death. What would become of their bond in the face of that growl? The shadows thickened, and darkness watched, hungry. The bear took a step forward, and with it came the bitter realization: the fight had only just begun. The bear's eyes glinted like two glowing coals, pulsating with hunger and aggression. As the beast moved forward, its massive form breaking through the darkness, the soldier's heart raced. He could practically hear his pulse thundering in his ears, drowning out everything but the primal instinct to survive. He forced himself to focus, knowing that their lives depended on his deteriorating strength. "Get back!" he yelled, a surge of urgency in his voice. Bone and sinew strained as he pushed himself to a kneeling position, fingers clawing at the ground to stabilize his shattered body. He could feel the earth beneath him trembling with the bear's footfalls. The first girl, wild-eyed but fierce, stood her ground. "I won't let it hurt you. Behind you, run!" the soldier shouted, suddenly feeling dizzy from pain and adrenaline. The second girl tightened her grip on the branch, shifting slightly, defiance etched on her young face. "Stay out of this. We can't let it take him." The silence of the forest turned oppressive. For a split second, they all braced together for the impact, hearts beating in unison. But the next moment was filled with chaos. The bear lunged forward, growling deeply, as the girls screamed and darted aside just in time. Now! Swing! The soldier's voice soared above the chaos, an echo of their last hope. With all her might, the second girl swung the branch, but the bear dodged the assault, its strength and speed overshadowing their resolve. The branch whacked harmlessly against a tree trunk instead. The soldier felt his breath hitch as the bear pivoted, its fierce gaze locking onto the girl with the branch. Without thinking, the soldier lunged forward on instinct, a desperation fueling his movements. He grasped a jagged rock from the ground and hurled it toward the bear, hoping to distract it long enough for the girls to escape. The stone clattered against the bear's side, and for a fraction of a second, the creature's attention shifted. But time was running out. The second girl shouted, "This isn't working. We need to move." The first girl screamed, her eyes wild with panic. They needed to regroup. The soldier tossed aside his fears and pushed through the razor-like pain shooting up his leg. He glanced over at the path the girls had just taken, the shadows wrapping around the trees, devouring any hope of finding safety. "Head for the river," he called, each word laced with raw urgency. "It's our only chance." Together, they scrambled deeper into the underbrush, the bear now on their tail, enraged and relentless. The night air was thick with the scent of pine and blood, but there was no time to question their choices. They needed to move, needed to survive. Branches scratched their skin, dark shadows reached out to pull them down, but the trio dashed forward. The soldier's breath came in ragged gasps, skin slick with sweat and cold terror. The sound of the bear thundering behind them was a grim reminder of their reality. "Don't look back," he urged, having little choice but to push them forward, though every ounce of pain made the distance seem insurmountable. Then came a new noise, the rush of water. But as they raced towards the sound, a thud echoed behind them, followed by a chilling growl that chilled the blood in their veins. Their frantic steps faltered just at the water's edge. How would they cross? The river loomed like a surge of uncertainty, dark and thrumming with danger. "Go! Now!" The soldier urged again, gripping their arms tightly for a fleeting moment, trusting they wouldn't become lost in despair. Would they band together and jump into the icy depths, cascading into the unknown? Or would the bear reclaim its prey, snatching them back from the brink of survival? They knew the answer lay within those freezing waters, but betrayal and bonds made their next choice uncertain. The soldier's gaze fell on the other side, and as he plunged toward the river, he heard the snap of branches behind them draw closer, a countdown to their fate. What awaited them on the other side of survival? The river's roar filled their ears as they stood at its edge, hearts racing and bodies trembling. The soldier could feel the ground vibrate beneath him, an ominous reminder of the predator closing in. The icy water shimmered under the moonlight, revealing a current that raged with power. "Jump!" he commanded, his voice rising above the chaos within him. The first girl hesitated, fear written all over her face. The second girl, still gripping her branch, looked back at the looming danger. "Can we even make it across? Do you want to find out?" The soldier couldn't mask the desperation in his tone. "Trust me." In that moment, the ground trembled again as the bear broke through the last branch, its massive silhouette illuminated against the dark backdrop of trees. The beast's growl reverberated deep within their souls, a sound laden with malice and the promise of death. "Now! Go!" The soldier pushed the girls forward with an urgency born from sheer terror, the instinct to protect driving him toward the rushing waters. With a collective breath, they leaped. The icy water engulfed them instantly, seizing their lungs with a brutal grip. The chill bit into their skin, a shock that momentarily stole the breath from their bodies. Their instincts kicked in as they fought against the current, arms thrashing for purchase amidst swirling water. The soldier's leg screamed in agony. The pain radiated through him like fire, but he shoved it aside. The adrenaline coursing through his veins helped him focus as he struggled to keep his head above water. He glanced toward the girls, battling the cold and the rush, their faces a blur of fear and determination. "Keep swimming. Keep moving," he shouted, forced to trust they would hear him beneath the tumultuous noise. The water was relentless, pulling at their legs and dragging them further into the depths, but somehow they began to find their rhythm. Just as they felt they were grasping at hope, a sudden, monstrous splash erupted behind them. The bear. It had dared to follow them into the water, its powerful paws thrashing against the current. "Swim!" he yelled, panic rising in his throat. Glistening drops sprayed everywhere as the bear lunged headfirst into the river, its claws slicing through the water with terrifying precision. The soldier's heart raced faster. They couldn't stop now. Suddenly, a bratty rage ignited in the first girl. "It won't take us!" she yelled defiantly, using the branch to strike at the bear's head as it plunged through the water toward them. The bear recoiled, momentarily stunned, but it wasn't enough. Not yet. The soldier gritted his teeth and fought against the current, kicking harder, pushing forward with all the strength he could muster. Then, through the mist of fear, he could see a bank ahead, a glimmer of salvation. Over there. Head for the shore. But the bear recovered, eyes blazing with fury. It had chosen them. It wouldn't let them escape so easily. With every ounce of strength, they surged toward the shore, alive with urgency as the beast followed, roaring with a primal hunger that echoed hauntingly in the night. As they neared the edge, the soldier's limbs began to weaken. He felt like he was sinking, the water tugging him down. But just as he thought he would succumb, the girls reached the edge and found solid ground. "Grab my hand!" the second girl yelled, her voice fierce amid the chaos. The soldier stretched out his trembling hand, but in that moment, he felt his fingers falter, slipping under the freezing water. The shoreline felt so close, yet so far. With a final surge of will, he pulled himself out, collapsing onto solid ground, gasping for air. But the nightmare wasn't over. The bear was almost upon them, teeth bared, fury igniting the air between them. "Run!" he shouted again, not waiting for a response. They had escaped the water, but the true danger was just beginning. What awaited them under the cover of trees on the other side of that brutal river? Would they find safety or succumb to the wrath of the beast? Adrenaline surged through the soldier as they bolted into the tangled underbrush, leaves crunching violently underfoot. The bear, relentless, barreled behind them, its roar like thunder in the night. Each breath felt like ice, sharp and numbing. He couldn't afford to look back, but he sensed the shadow bearing down, a living testament to the danger they had just escaped. "Keep moving. Don't stop!" he shouted, his voice strained, urgent, desperate. The trees wrapped around them like a maze, branches clawing at their clothes, snagging at skin. The moonlight broke through in patches, illuminating the ground ahead, urging them to press on. They burst through a thicket into a small clearing, the pale light reflecting off the ground like silver dust. The soldier stumbled, breath hitching in his throat. "This way." He pointed toward a boulder looming at the far end of the clearing, a potential refuge against the beast. He struggled to keep up with the girls, his legs screaming in protest as he tried to block out the pain. "Can it climb?" the first girl asked, wild-eyed and panting. "Not easily. We can use it to buy us time." They sprinted. The soldier felt their combined fear palpable, a living thing chasing them through the darkness. Just as they reached the boulder, a thunderous crash echoed behind them. The bear had breached the clearing, its immense silhouette silhouetted against the moon. It stood, momentarily disoriented, nostrils flaring as it drank in their scent. "Climb!" the soldier shouted, urging the girls up the rock face. He hoisted himself after them, fingers grappling against the cold, rough surface. A scrape here, a sting there, but they didn't stop. Not now. The bear, roaring in frustration, emerged from the shadows, shaking its head as if ridding itself of any remnants of confusion. The soldier pulled himself on top, heart hammering, and turned to spot the beast's hulking form striding toward the boulder. "Stay low," he instructed, crouching as they settled behind a jutting ledge of rock. The ground beneath vibrated with each step the bear took, a reminder of the living nightmare they were caught in. "Do you think it'll get bored?" the second girl whispered, voice barely audible over the thudding heartbeat in their ears. Her eyes mirrored a wild blend of terror and defiance. "No," he said bluntly. "Bears don't get bored. It will find a way." Panic clawed at him. The soldier's mind raced. He didn't know how long they could stay hidden. The night felt like a suffocating blanket, anxiety wrapping tighter around them. But then, among the dread, something flickered an idea. "We need a distraction," he muttered, more to himself than to them. He scanned the area, his mind racing to formulate a plan. A fallen branch lay just outside the edge of the clearing, quietly beckoning like a lifeline. If he could just know. The first girl hissed, reading his mind. "It'll trap you. It's our only chance. Please." But the soldier pushed forward, a surge of desperation marking his every movement. He took a deep breath, adrenaline fueling his resolve. "I'll run toward the water again. You stay here and keep quiet. When it follows, you'll have a chance to escape. But trust me." He felt the weight of their gazes, fear mingling with budding resolve. The bear shuffled closer, its dark eyes locking onto their hiding place. "Go. Now," he urged. With a final, lingering glance, he hurled himself off the boulder and ran with everything he had back toward the river. The beast caught on, its massive legs thundered toward him, explosive acceleration made evident by the snapping branches. The soldier felt his heart pound against his chest, a war drum rallying him to survive. His feet pounded the ground, pushing through exhaustion and pain, desperation twisting every muscle, but just as he approached the river's edge, an unnatural creaking echoed from behind. He glanced back, and his blood ran cold. The girls had rushed down, chasing after him. "No! Get back!" Too late, the soldier sprinted toward the roaring river, knowing that their peril wasn't just the beast, but the wrath of the raging water once again. Would they be swallowed alive by their own escape? And then, as the beast charged behind, a new sound: water crashing, something breaking. An avalanche of logs. A snarl of confusion broke the soldier's thoughts just as he realized, would this help them survive the night or lead them straight to their doom? The moment had come. The soldier's instincts kicked in as he dove to the side, barely avoiding the forked branches that cracked and splintered in a chaotic wave behind him. The girls stumbled after him, desperation etched into their faces, yet too afraid to truly comprehend the danger. A massive log, uprooted and now tumbling toward them, shattered the last shred of doubt. "Run! Now!" he yelled, an urgency in every syllable. Time blurred, and everything around them warped as instinct took over, the soldier sprinting towards a safe distance, while the colossal bear closed in behind. The ferocity of the bear's growl shook the very ground beneath. The soldier dared a quick glance back. The creature was right on their heels, its beady eyes gleaming with animalistic ferocity. Fear coursed through him, sharper than any knife. They had to escape. "What if it comes this way?" the first girl screamed, panic creeping into her voice like ivy around a tree trunk. She stumbled over roots, but the soldier grabbed her arm, pulling her to her feet before they lost precious seconds. "It won't. Just keep going. Don't look back." Water frothing and tearing at the banks urged him to keep moving. He could feel it, a power far too great, ready to consume them if they faltered. The river was a merciless beast all its own, swollen and thrashing with rage as it reached for the land. Suddenly, the logs crashed down with a deafening crack, forming a barricade between them and the bear's ferocity. The soldier pushed forward, knowing they had only one moment to capitalize on this sudden development. The rumble of water masked the rapid approach of the bear. As they reached the water's shore, dread filled him. The river's too strong. We can't jump in. His voice trembled with urgency. We have to find a way to cross. Before he could finish, a massive paw tore through the shattered logs, sending splinters flying. The bear had found its way around the obstruction, angered and relentless. Now! He shouted, grabbing the second girl as he darted sideways along the edge of the water. The bank led up to a narrow stretch of exposed roots. He clambered up, pulling her behind him, doing all he could to shield her from the beast, but the river was angry and they were trapped. Where do we go? The first girl whimpered. There's nowhere to run. Look! He pointed downstream. There. It branches off into smaller channels. We might find a way across. Are you insane? She barked, disbelief and fear mixing in her tone. The bear, it's coming. He didn't mean to raise his voice, but the rising panic drowned all deliberation. Follow me. He shouted, and without waiting for confirmation, he bolted along the twisted trees hugging the river. They skirted dangerously close to the water, where the current swirled with death. Moving as fast as he could, he glanced back at the girls. The bear was now in full pursuit, charging with thunderous steps, feet pounding against the ground like war drums. Move faster. The soldier felt adrenaline surge through him, the instinct to fight or flee igniting every fiber. The water closed in around them. Suddenly, the ground beneath the second girl gave way, her foot slipping on the damp earth. Help! Her scream echoed, every panic-filled breath pulling at his heart. With one swift motion, he lunged back, fingers grasping at her wrist. I got you. He pulled, fearing the treacherous current would snatch her away. But the moment stretched, and the bear's breath grew louder. In that heartbeat, as the soldier struggled to hold on, the choice loomed over them: should he risk both their lives for a chance, or abandon everything to save himself, its mouth agape to unleash a roar? Would they find solace in escape, or had they just awakened evils greater than nature itself? The soldier felt the water crash against his legs. The night had turned into a twisted game of fate, and he knew there was no turning back what awaited them at the end of the river. The soldier tightened his grip, his muscles screaming as he fought against the weight of panic and the churning water. The bear's growl echoed in his ears, a dark reminder of the danger that loomed just a heartbeat away. Don't let go! He shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. The girl's terrified eyes locked onto his, shimmering with fear and trust. He could feel her slipping, and with every inch she fell closer to the ravenous current. His heart thudded heavier in his chest. Suddenly, the bear burst from the underbrush, its massive form crashing against the shoreline. The soldier saw the raw power of its muscle, the glistening hunger in its eyes. He could feel the thunder of its footfalls in the ground beneath him, a harbinger of doom. Up! Climb! He yelled, directing his free hand toward the tangled branches above. Get to the roots. The first girl grasped the branches above them, panic giving her a momentary surge of strength. She reached down, her fingers trembling as she grasped the flailing hand of her friend. The second girl was slipping, the river's pull was merciless. Hold on! He barked, offering everything he had in his grip. With one powerful tug, the bear lunged, snapping its powerful jaws just inches from the soldier's back. The force of the creature's attack sent a jolt through him, breaking his concentration for an instant that felt like eternity. In that brief moment, the second girl let out a wail, the sound raw and filled with imminent despair. She was losing ground, all hope fading as she dangled above the dark, swirling water. Please! Help! She cried, her voice shrill with terror. Almost there, the soldier urged, heart racing, rage toward the beast surging through him. With a fierce pull, he dug his heels into the mud and yanked upward, feeling her slipping grip against his palm, but nature would not relent. A root broke free, and the second girl screamed, the sound piercing through the chaos. Then, in a flurry of motion, the soldier lost his grasp. She tumbled backwards, into the depths below, her panicked voice swallowed by the wild roar of the river. "No!" he shouted as he leaned dangerously over the edge, searching for any sign of her. The water twisted in madness, pulling at his legs, filling him with icy dread. Before he could think, the bear was there, towering above him, a silhouette against the darkening sky. He could see its muscles coiled, ready to savage. With no time to think, he took a step back, adrenaline fueling him. Get away. With each measured breath, he spun, but something held him. Guilt anchored him to the spot. They had followed him into this nightmare. Were they worth the risk? Cold clarity hit him. It was them or him now, the first girl yelped, breaking his reverie. What do we do? Her fear filled the air, making his throat tight. Hide. Behind the rocks. He shouted, guiding her away from the bear's path. The rumble of the beast grew louder, crashing through the brush, searching for its prey. They ducked behind a series of jagged stones, heartbeats thundering in their ears. The shadow of the bear lingered, sniffing the air, its breath hot and foul, the ground quaking like a drumbeat in their chests. Will it find us? She whispered, eyes wide with terror. The soldier shook his head, forcing himself to stay calm. Not unless we make noise. But his own voice trembled with uncertainty. Suddenly, a rustle echoed in the brush. The soldier's heart stalled. The bear had circled back. Stay still. He pressed his finger to his lips, signaling her silence, but a distant sound broke through the chaos, a shrill whistle. The soldier's eyes flicked toward the source, a glimmer of hope lighting the shadows. He felt the first stirrings of anger and resolve. We have to move now. Before the bear could react, he grabbed the girl's arm and propelled her forward into the thicket. They needed to find shelter, a hiding place, anything. The forest had transformed into a labyrinth, and every snap of a twig felt like an echoing death sentence. Would the whistle bring salvation or doom? What lay beyond the looming darkness of the trees? Would they find safety or be swallowed by the wild? The soldier sprinted through the twisted undergrowth, branches snapping against his skin, leaving angry red welts as he dragged the girl behind him. The whistle had sparked an urgency that coursed through him like electricity. Every instinct screamed at him to flee from the bear, but the looming threat of the unknown was equally terrifying. Keep up. He shouted, fear pushing his voice past the chaos. They stumbled over roots and rocks, adrenaline pounding through their veins. The whistle echoed again, sharper this time, urgent, compelling. It felt like a lifeline thrown into the dark waters of despair. The girl clutched his arm, her breath coming in spurts. What if it's a trap? He shot her a glance, desperation etched across his face. It's a chance. We need to move. There was no time for hesitation. Heart racing, he forged ahead, footsteps pounding against the forest floor while fear hung thick in the air. The bear's snarl reverberated behind them like an ominous drumbeat, relentless and hungry. They slid down an embankment, the soft earth crumbling beneath their feet. He braced himself and landed hard, gritting his teeth against the pain in his ankle. The soldier pushed through, pulling the girl toward a thicket densely packed with underbrush. Here. He pulled her into a small hollow beneath the gnarled roots of an ancient tree, urgency swelling in his chest. They huddled together in the darkness, breaths mingling in the cold air. The bear stood just outside their sanctuary, silhouetted against the waning dusk. Its massive frame blocked out what little light remained. It sniffed the air, its growl rumbling from deep within its chest. Why did we come here? The girl whispered, panic edging her voice. What if it finds us? It won't, he said tightly, forcing his eyes to stay locked on the beast's shape. Stay quiet, please. They waited, everything around them eerily silent except for the bear's heavy breathing. Then, from the darkness, the whistle sounded again, louder, more insistent. The bear's ears perked up, and like a shadow slipping into night, it turned and loped away, leaving a tremor of silence hanging in the air. The soldier exhaled a shaky breath, his heart hammering like a war drum. "We have to see who it is," he said, urgency creeping back into his voice. "We might not get another chance." Emerging from their hiding place, they peeked out cautiously. The forest was a tapestry of shadows and shifting silhouettes. He signaled the girl to follow, moving toward the source of the whistle, each step a calculated risk. Then they saw him, an older man, dressed in tattered clothes, crouched low amongst the trees, eyes scanning the clearing. He looked like he belonged to the wild, a creature hardened by survival. "Hey!" he called out, voice low yet commanding. "Over here." The man's gaze pierced through the twilight, and there was strength in the way he carried himself. But before the soldier could call back, a thunderous crash echoed through the trees. The bear had returned, drawn once more by the scent of alarm. Its growl shook the very ground, and the soldier felt the familiar icy grip of dread latch onto his spine. "Run!" he shouted to the girl, but they were already moving, fear guiding their feet as they scrambled for safety. Where could they go? The woods had turned treacherous yet again, and the specter of the bear loomed behind them, relentless and terrifying. Just as they dove into the underbrush, the ground beneath them shifted entirely, roots cracking and earth churning. There was no going back now. They were trapped in an ever-darkening nightmare. Would they find the man a moment too late? Or was the path they were on leading them to the edge of something more dangerous than they could imagine? The soldier's heart raced as they plunged deeper into the forest. Each step felt like a gamble, the underbrush clutching at their legs like an anxious child grasping for help. The girl was right behind him, her breath ragged, fear the only thing propelling them forward. "Where are we going?" she panted, darting glances behind them, as if the bear were right at their heels. "Anywhere but here," he snapped, his voice sharp, though not unkind. The sound of splintering branches echoed like a warning bell behind them, reminding him that time was running out. Then, as if nature had conspired against them, they reached a clearing. The moon bathed the area in a silvery glow, revealing the dark outline of a cabin at the edge of the trees. Hope flickered inside him, but doubt quickly followed. Was it safe? Or another trap waiting to snap shut? "Look!" he pointed, his urgency bubbling over. "There's a cabin. We might find help inside." "Are you sure?" she asked, her wide eyes reflecting the glimmer of the moonlight. "What if it's occupied?" "We don't have a choice," he insisted, tugging her toward the cabin. They dashed forward, every breath heavy with the weight of terror, but then, horror struck. A growl erupted from the forest, raw and primal. They barely reached the cabin's door when the unmistakable sound of heavy feet crashed against the ground behind them. "Get inside!" he shouted, adrenaline pumping hot through his veins. The door creaked as they threw it open, and he shoved her inside before following, slamming it shut just as the bear lurched into view. The cabin's interior was dim and reeked of mildew. Old furniture was strewn around like forgotten memories, and dust motes danced in the slivers of moonlight piercing through the broken windows. They found a corner and pressed against the wall, breathless, listening intently. "What do we do now?" she whispered, trembling. "We wait just for a moment," he managed, though his mind raced. The soldier's thoughts churned like storm clouds. They needed a plan, something to do before the bear found them again. Silently, he scanned the room, eyes landing on a rusty shovel propped against the wall. "Listen," he breathed, trying to sound calmer than he felt. "When the bear stops, we'll need to distract it. I'll use this." Suddenly, the door rattled violently as the bear began to claw at it. The soldier's heart sank. The cabin wasn't a sanctuary, it had become their coffin. "It knows we're in here," she cried, eyes wide, a mix of fear and despair. "Shush!" He shot her a fierce look, wanting to be the pillar of strength. "We can't lose our heads. We'll fight if we have to. Just stay close." As he clutched the shovel, a splintering crack echoed through the door. Panic surged inside him, but he had to hold it together for both of them. The bear's growl erupted like thunder through the cabin, shaking loose dust from the ceiling. He could feel the vibrations in his bones. Would they make it through the night? What if the man outside was their only hope? The girl reached out, gripping his arm tightly. I don't want to die here. Neither do I, he said, forcing conviction into his voice. But the question lingered, could they really escape a predator like that? With one final deafening crash, the door gave way, the wood splintering like dried twigs. The soldier and the girl braced themselves as the creature filled the doorway, a dark silhouette against the moonlit night. They were out of time. Just as the bear lunged forward, a shout exploded from outside, slicing through the tension like a sharp knife. Get away from them, you beast! The sound of the older man echoed, startling the bear. Would this unexpected ally save them? Or was it their last flicker of hope before everything went dark? The bear hesitated, its enormous bulk halted by the voice. It growled low but turned its head slightly, confused and agitated. The soldier's heart raced. Was this their chance? He could barely breathe. The girl beside him clutched his arm, wide-eyed and trembling. Get ready! The soldier's voice cracked, filled with urgency. They had to act fast. The man outside took a step closer, wielding a heavy branch like a sword. Come on, you overgrown furball. You don't want this fight. With a snarl, the bear lunged toward the man. The soldier didn't hesitate. This was their moment. He swung the shovel with every ounce of strength he had as they rushed past the bear, dodging its snapping jaws. The man's distraction bought them precious seconds, time they needed to escape. The girl yelled, "What do we do now?" "Get to the back door," he commanded, already pushing against her to the cabin's rear. They shoved through the old entrance, bursting into the cool night air. The moon hung overhead, ethereal and serene, contrasting sharply with the nightmare behind them. A chilling roar erupted from the cabin as the bear turned back, furious at the loss of its prey. The soldier didn't look back. They ran into the woods, heart pounding, adrenaline surging. Where do we go? The girl cried, panic coating her words. There's a stream not far from here. We can use it to cover our scent. He didn't have a map, but he had memories simulating the layout of the woods in his mind. The bear's anger echoed in the distance, growling ominously, a dark shadow that wouldn't easily relent. Stay close. They plunged through the brush, dodging branches and leaping over roots, calling on the last traces of energy. As they sprinted, the water's roar came closer, and the thrill of hope tinged the air with a different kind of urgency. They broke through the final thicket, and there it was, the stream, bubbling lightly, as if coaxing them toward safety. But the moment brought a seize of panic. They needed to go deeper into the water. Jump in, he urged, his voice like a lifeline as they reached the bank. The cool, murky water enveloped them, and they quickly understood the chilling embrace of the current. I can't swim well, the girl shouted, her voice tremulous, fear spilling over her bravado. You can do this, he insisted, steadying her. Follow my lead. They navigated the stream, floundering at first, but soon the current worked with them, settling their fears with each stroke. The chilling bite to their skin made them acutely aware of the life they fought to preserve. The branches overhead swayed gently, whispering encouragement against the unyielding current. Then they heard it, the bear, thundering at the water's edge, searching for a way to follow. It roared in frustration, splashing wildly as it breached the stream's bank. Swim, the soldier yelled, pushing forward. They dug deep, propelling themselves toward a bend in the stream, hoping the water would conceal them enough. Panic clawed at his chest as they forged ahead, gazes darting behind for any sign of the mighty beast. As they rounded the curve, the water calmed slightly, and desperation was replaced with a glimmer of determination. Keep going. We can't stop. Finally, just as they rounded another bend, they spotted a thick underbrush lining the bank. "There!" he pointed, feeling a wave of hope crash over him. They scrambled onto the muddy bank, panting, but no thunderous growl followed them. They were safe, for now. The soldier fell back against a tree, gasping for air, adrenaline still racing through his veins. The girl by his side collapsed beside him, tremors of fear still visible in her wide eyes. "Is it really gone?" He nodded, fatigue threatening to pull him under. "For now." But he didn't dare say more. The woods were unpredictable, and the bear wouldn't lay idle for long. Little by little, their breathing began to ease, hearts slowed, and terror morphed into quiet reflections. They had made it through, together. He caught her watching him, that look of gratitude mingled with disbelief. "Why did you risk everything?" He swallowed, feeling the weight of those words. "Because we are human. We fight back, we help each other survive." Her expression softened, and the air hung with unspoken understanding. Bonds forged through shared peril are never forgotten. They huddled close, allowing each other strength, the woods still alive with the echo of danger yet becoming a space of solace. As the moon cast a soft glow over their faces, they nestled down, not knowing what the next night may hold but resting blissfully, knowing they faced it together. Time moves on, whether we want it to or not. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you won't miss the courageous adventures waiting around every corner. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, so our amazing stories can reach more heroes like you. Flood the comments section, tell me what you think about the soldier and the girl's journey. What were your favorite moments? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion unfold. Only true fans understand the importance of this support.